Good morning. Welcome to EduSat Network. Friend, as you are aware, we are having discussion on soft skill, and yesterday we tried to understand the communication skill. Communication skill is a part of the soft skills, and we also came to know the different component, different element that is involved with the communication skill, and how a skilled communication is different from the general communication. And the most of the that we try to learn how a one who feel that we can't communicate, they can become a good communicator. That was the good part of a study lecture. Today we'll continue with it and we'll try to get into the what is exactly communication is and how can you use the communication in day-to-day life and perform better. And for discussion on this very topic, we have in the studio the same resource person, Professor Nirmal Bhatnagar. And she is a good communicator, motivator, and believe in transforming the people. And as I have already introduced her, she has held an important position like manager and chief manager of National Textile Corporation Limited, and has also been a counselor for National Commission for Women, and recipient of many awards like Best Women Entrepreneur Award, Best Women Executive Award, etc. There are a lot many awards are there. So I don't want to take you much time, but I request ma'am to start the lecture so that you can get more benefit of today's lectures. Welcome you, ma'am. Start the lecture.
Thank you. Today we are going to talk about communication again. You will recall that yesterday we were telling you what are the basics of communication skills. And I was trying to impress upon you that we all are communicators, born communicators. It is sometimes that we don't develop our communication skill and we feel that we cannot communicate. But all the time, we know that we are communicating. Today I'm going to tell you about communication in different other ways, and I'm going to tell you about how we can use it in day-to-day life, become a good communicator and an impressive person who is acceptable to the society, to your friends, to your family, to everybody. Now to start it, what is communication? Many of us feel that communication is just talking. We all talk all the time. Communication is basically, if I was to define you in a very simple language, it is giving or telling our thoughts, our ideas, conveying whatever we want to convey to another person by using various methodologies. Now, what are these methodologies? You know, methodologies can be innumerous. There can be number of methodologies that we use and to convey what we want to convey to somebody. Now, if we have to convey our things and thoughts and messages to others, then what all do we need to be a good person to convey it? Number one, we require to be a very good listener. Now, unless we listen and understand what the other person wants, we will not be able to convey what we want to convey to him. So first is, even before listening, we also observe. We observe things, where are the things, what are happening in the things, and then we listen to what the other people are saying. And once we have listened, observed, we are in command of what the other person requires. And now the third thing that we do is, now we start talking. Now we start giving our point of view to the person. Without listening or without what you call understanding, observing, if we just start talking, we will be a failure. So please friends, remember one thing, before you open your mouth to convey something, make sure that inside your heart, inside your mind, you are absolutely clear. Not only clear, you have understood the situation, you have understood, you have observed what the person is in mind. I mean, whether the person is in a good mood, bad mood, what is his receiving power, and then you start conveying. Suppose a person is in a big angry mood and you are trying to pacify him. You know at that time his mental state is such, whatever you say is going to go waste. You haven't observed him. You haven't listened to what all he's talking in his anger, and you start sermonizing him. You will be a flop. You will be a total failure. Nobody is going to listen to you. So remember, observing, listening, and then speaking. These are the first basic principles of communicating your thoughts to somebody else. Then we come down to not only listening and talking, we come down to grasping, samajhdari, samajhna, what the other person has in mind. After you have said something, try to understand what the other person's mind is talking about. Whether he has taken your idea in a positive manner, negative manner, is he interested in your idea or is he not interested into your idea? And once we have analyzed that he is taking your idea well, he is understanding it, we continue with that idea in the same way as we were trying to give it earlier. But the moment I see this man is agitated, he's not listening, his attentions are not on me, he is not even taking what I'm trying to say, I should change my course of talking altogether. I'll give an example from day-to-day life to you. You all must be going to your colleges, your professors are teaching you, and there are times they are going on and on and on and on, and a stage comes when you stop listening. Your eyes are on them, you're pretending to be listening. You think that you are listening, but you are actually not listening to them. What are you doing? Your mind's frail somewhere else. Now, at that stage, if the professor understands his observation, his understanding of you is perfect, then he will immediately divert his, what you call, lecture into something else. And then, once your attention comes back, he will go back to his lecture. So that is the reason we say that communication is a skill. It's a lifetime skill. For a successful life story, you need to communicate all the time. If you are not able to learn the tacts of communication, then probably with the best of the knowledge you have, you may be a very knowledgeable person, you may be a very popular person, but the moment you communicate, you will turn out to be a flop. So please remember, I'm telling you that when you use communication in your day-to-day life, first learn to listen, then learn to observe, then learn to grasp what the other person's moods are, and thereafter talk about what you are trying to talk. Another little example we can take from the house. You want to go out for a party and you want to come out late in the party and you want to spend your late evening with your friends. Your mother is very busy doing something in the house. She is very involved in some work or the other, and her mind is on several other things, and you just go and tell, Mom, I'm not going to be in the house tonight. I'm going out with friends and I'll be back at 12 in the night. You will see the reaction. She'll immediately say, no, you are not going. Don't talk nonsense, you are not allowed to go. Now with this sort of reaction, where does the reaction come from? Now reaction comes because you've chosen a wrong time, a wrong observation power and a wrong thinking. At the same time, when she's at a leisure sitting and she's in a better mood or she is quite relaxed, you go and say, explain to her, communicate with her, tell her, this is the reason I'm going, I'll be back at such and such time and I will be safe at the party, and she will probably say, okay, go but take care. Now see the difference in the communication, suggesting the same thing in one way and suggesting the same thing other way. So what I'm trying to tell you is to prove my point that the first thing is that you observe, you listen, understand, and then only what you call formulate your communication and speak to people. If you are doing that without thinking, if we speak something and without we can hurt people, we are at a risk. So communication is something which requires a good listener, a good observer, and a good grasper, a person who can grasp things. So please make sure that before speaking, before communicating, you acquire these skills and think before you really take out to speak. Now, to divide communication into three major sectors, I would call the first type of communication that we are all the time doing, consciously or unconsciously, is called intrapersonal communication. What is intrapersonal communication? Intrapersonal communication is a communication that we are doing with our own selves all the time. Like, I'm thirsty and I say, oh, I have to get up and get a glass of water. I'm self-talking. I'm not talking to anybody. मैं अपने अंदर जो बातें करती हूँ, whatever I'm talking to myself, I'm sitting in a bus traveling 10 kilometers and all the time in my mind that I will do this, this will happen, that man sitting outside is doing this. All the time my mind is communicating, and that is called intrapersonal communication. We all do it, and we all do it all the time. The moment this communication stops in our brains, the doctors declare us dead brains. Have you ever heard the word that he has become a vegetable? You become a vegetable the moment your mind stops thinking and talking to self. So intrapersonal communication is one communication which we can say it prepares you to talk to people. Each one of us can do it. We are all the time doing it, but many of us open our mouth to say what we are doing inside our brain. This leads us to second type of communication, which we call interpersonal communication. Now, interpersonal, as the word goes, is when two people talk to each other, or more than two people talk to each other, or when we have a group of people talking to each other, we call it intrapersonal. Intrapersonal is when we exchange thought. I say, hello, how are you? Somebody says, I'm fine, how are you? I talk about weather and somebody says, aaj mausam acha hai. When we are exchanging the thoughts, we call it intrapersonal communication. Now, for intrapersonal communication, we will repeat the things that we talked yesterday. We say it's a two-way traffic. I can't be one-sided speaker all the time. I may be very happy to have listeners, but I have to give a chance to listeners to inter-exchange with me. Tell me exactly what do they think about it, whether they have understood what I am trying to tell them or they have not understood what I am trying to tell them. That is, I must see their reactions. Like, if I know that I come and outside and slap someone, the person can have several reactions. The reaction can be he can slap me back. The other reaction can be start crying. The third reaction can be he can go run down to and call his parents. The fourth reaction be he calls the police or something like this happens. Now, unless I anticipate the reaction, I cannot do the next action or next communication at all. So please remember, all these little things that I am telling you is to tell you that if you want to be a good communicator, use good communication values in your life. Remember one thing, observe, then listen to the others, and then only decide to react on your talking and on your actions. If you can follow these four principles, I can assure you your communication skills improve tremendously without anybody's assistance. Then we come down to another type of communication which we call group communication. Now, group communication is basically, we can talk about giving a lecture, talking from the stage, or trying to sermonize someone, or talking to a gathering like you have seen netas doing it. In the colleges, the principals do it, or others do it on several occasions. You are also asked to go on the stage sometimes and make a presentation or do something like that. Now, this is one particular type of communication. Do not ever think that you are the only one who gets nervous. All speakers of any caliber, when they go up the stage or face the public or are facing a group, they have some sort of nervousness in them. And that nervousness is the nervousness of being accepted or rejected. So don't think that if I go on the stage and I shake my hands or I am nervous, I can't speak a word, you are unnecessarily stressing yourself. I ask you to observe even the biggest netas, known politicians, the known speakers of your country, very, very qualified people. When they go to the stage, you'll see them either sipping a glass of water or putting their pages here and there, or even if they are not putting their pages here and there, they stand on the podium, take a little pause. Now what are they doing? What exactly is this communication? They are just pre-preparing their minds on what to do and how to react, how to start for being accepted. Now, to start, once you've started and started finding a good reaction from the others, that is the time that you should think, yes, I should continue, I am being accepted. I will not be hooted out unless I do some blunders. So in order to become the third type of communicator, that is the group communicator, you need to rehearse a lot. You need to know your basic knowledge. You should be very well versed in the subject on which you are talking, so that you have the inner confidence that my facts are with me, I am fully prepared, I know all about what I am going to talk, and the moment you have that sort of confidence, your communication becomes easier for you. If you feel that you are half-baked knowledge, you're not knowledgeable in the subject, and you just stand and try to please the people by jokes and by talking here and there, they will last for a few minutes. Thereafter you will get hooted out. So group communication requires a lot of preparation. But interpersonal communication, which is we talk day to day with each other, does not require a lot of preparation because the subjects are unknown. All we need is a command on our language. All we need is slow speaking. All we need is modulation of voice. All we need is what we call impressing others and making sure that others accept our thought and we listen to their criticism. We try to pacify them on their criticism. It's an inter-game, inter-exchange of communication. It is not one-way speaking at all. Now after knowing that these three types of communication that we come across every day, I told you about intra communication, which we do in our own minds all the time. Our minds are working on something or the other. Second is interpersonal communication. When we are day to day talking, we come across someone, we just talk on the roadside. We are not onto a defined talking spree. Then the third one I said is group communication, where we speak from podiums, where we are talking in conferences as chairman, where we are talking in meetings, etc. Now I come down to the very common topic which most of the students of your age group want to know. There is a very important thing in life to get success in your career. Now to go and take success in your career, what sort of communication do you require? How do you prepare yourself? There are several types of things for which we need to prepare ourselves. Number one, personal hygiene. You recall that these days people are very keen to see you neat and tidy, clean. We cannot go to somebody looking untidy, unhygienic. Now when I use the word hygiene, hygiene is that your nails are properly clean, you are taken a bath, you are not smelling. Even if you have walked to India, we have a tropical climate, we all sweat a lot, we all know we do the sweating, we have some odor coming out. So what do? When you go for, now you see when you meet people, senior people, you are in an air-conditioned room and the air circulates, your smell circulates around, and that gives a feeling to someone who is talking to you that you should be shunted out as fast as possible. So you losing the few minutes that you get to talk to the people. So the personal hygiene is, even if you're coming, you're sweating, you're smelling, use something, use a little deodorant, or not, if you cannot afford to have, at least go to the cloakroom or the toilet, clean yourself a little bit, try to feel that you are fresh, and then enter a room of the boss or enter the room of the person where you're being interviewed or where you feel that you have to get selected for your career prospects. Now the second point, which is very important, is your dress codes. Now what sort of dress? In case of females, generally you must have seen that they are very fond of wearing dangling things, they are very fond of wearing jingling things, and sometimes I've seen they come fully starched dresses, especially the dupattas which they wear, they're dragging around here and there, or the sari pallus, if they're wearing saris, they're falling here and there, or they're wearing tight t-shirts and all. These are not what you call appearance. Communication is very important, as I told you yesterday. The first appearance means so much to a person, and people form opinions by looking at you. So wear soft colors, wear colors which are not what we call are, biting colors, or whatever you call them. They are shocking colors. Avoid shocking colors because we call them distractors. Do not wear anything like if you're wearing earrings in your ears and they're all the time tinkling around here and there. The person's eyes are on your earrings, not on attending to your expressions and what you're saying. Similarly, if you're wearing some jingling things around, lots of bangles, they jingle around when you raise your hand or put your hand down. In case of boys, I would come down to simple things about appearance. Number one, bulging pockets. It's a very, very common feature when you come for acceptance, for any formal meetings or interviews. If you have your shirt pocket bulging out or your trousers pocket bulging out, when I say bulging out, too many things stuffed into it. There is always a curiosity angle, because the person sitting on the other side of the table is a human being also. He also has the same curiosity as you have. So he or she feels, kya hai jeb mein? Kya bhara hai jeb mein? So attention or eyes roving about here and there go back to your pocket. So please see that your pockets are not bulging. You just have a pen or something small in your pocket. Don't put too many things in your pocket. Don't allow your pocket to bulge out. Then we have another important thing about men. Do not what you call wear jazzy things, like on the tie pin, your cufflinks, very jingly ones, or anything that can attract. We call them attractors. We call them diversers. They diversify the attention when we are doing our communication with someone. So make sure that when you are dressed up, go before the mirror and find out for yourself from top to the bottom. Am I wearing something? Am I having something which is a distractor on my body? Because your appearance is a communication without speaking a word which formulate your impression into the minds of the other person. So whenever you are in a formal place, wear things according to the occasion. You're going for a wedding, you go and wear very jazzy clothes, you look very jazzy, but if you wear all those jazzy stuff in your workplace or in an interview or in your college, that's not the place to do it, because you're distracting others. Not only distracting yourself, but you are taking away the attention of the people in one way or the other. So this is called appearance communication. Then I'll talk to you about the group communication. When we are sitting around in a meeting, how do we go about? There are certain points I'm going to tell you here. In a meeting, first of all, go well prepared. You should know your subject very well. Number two, if you do not know your subject very well and you have no time to prepare, be a very good listener. Listen to what others have to contribute and go on jotting out the points which others are talking, and then use their points to formulate your own point. as a good communicator in a meeting, to make your presence felt, you should come out with 3 times minimum in your speech. And the best way to find out whether your presence is being felt, whether people know that you are contributing, you are a good communicator or not, count the people sitting around you. If there are 15 people in the room, then you should be speaking at least 3 times. If there are 20 people in the room, you should be speaking at least 4 times. Now, speaking does not mean that you stop someone and say, oh, I want to say something. Communication means that with your gestures, with your head gestures, that you agree, you disagree, or with your eyes, with your hand movement, you can convey that you are a part of the meeting. Now, there are certain times when we absolutely blank, we don't know, everything that we wanted to say has been said by somebody else. And we cannot communicate at all in these formal meetings. Then what do? I will give you some trump cards for that. We say these are trump cards of communication. And what is this trump card? The trump card is that we listen to people very carefully. And then we say, I think I agree with my friend when he says this, and I repeat what the other person has said. So you have told the whole meeting that you are agreeable, you also wanted to have the same thought given, but you didn't get a chance, so you are agreeing. So always use the word, I agree with this group who says like this. That shows that you have participated. So please remember, communication, participation is something which is in need of the day. You cannot be a dumb listener all the time. In any meeting, any place, even in a friend's gathering, if you are just a dumb listener without any expression on your face, without any hand movement, gestures, or without a word of agreement or disagreement, you are nowhere at all. People will get bored with you. Slowly and gradually, people will start shunning your company. And the result will be that you will also feel an outsider. And feeling an outsider, you'll stop going to those social gatherings. And you'll become an introvert gradually. So in order to avoid this situation, most of the people today, I find, well, a decade back when we didn't have computers, we know computers are very, very valuable things in our life. It gives us so much information, anything and everything in the world we get out of them. But what have they done to our people today? They have made us with tapes on our mouth. We can't speak. We can think, our brains work, but when I tell a very brainy person, totally devoted to computer, to come and speak to me, he will bring out 10 things from computer and pull outs and show me everything in writing. He'll never be able to communicate for 5 minutes at all. So please remember, all these modern devices are excellent for us, but it is also very necessary that we get out of our dens and go and socialize. Socialize with not the same group over and over again. Socialize with people around us, with many other people. Sometimes I've seen a boy standing in front of a cobbler getting his shoe polished. And you observe that boy. He is very busy doing something of his own, in his own thoughts. But there's another boy who's doing the same thing, getting his shoe polished from a cobbler, and he looks at him, "क्यों भैया, कैसे हो? आज तो तुम बड़ा अच्छा जूता चमकाते हो. कितने पैसे कमा लेते हो दिन भर में?" Now, just very common conversation. And he has learned to communicate with that guy. And next time he goes near that guy, he is given the first preference against all other customers. Because he has had just little communication with that man with whom he was getting something done. Chai wala take, ordinary chai wala. Bhaiya ji ek achhi si chai pilao to, is one way of communicating. The other way is chai dena. No. Chai to se dena hi, use to paise kamana hai. But then how exactly see the communication? So please remember one thing, that when you are intercommunicating, talking to somebody else, you have to choose your words, you have to choose the situation, you have to take the grasp of the situation and accordingly communicate yourself. Being popular is not very difficult at all. Being popular is not throwing money at others. You can become very popular by giving big gifts to the people, but there are people you look forward to meeting. Well, who are these people? Why they are popular? Because of their communication. Please remember one thing, that group communication, interpersonal communication it comes out of your intrapersonal communication, that is something going on in your brain all the time. And to use it in your day-to-day life makes you a successful communicator. Now, there are 3-4 things which I like to repeat for you here, which you all must learn and must practice in day-to-day life. Number 1, ensure that you tell yourself that I must speak out to people. Sometimes we are so scared of speaking to a stranger. Your father's friend comes in, your somebody else's friend, and the immediate reply when you are asked to come into the room is, I'll get bored, what will I do with them? I don't know how to communicate, I don't know them. It's not knowing someone, it's just giving common courtesies to someone, talking nicely, a few little pleasantries to be exchanged. Never be scared of people. They're not going to harm you unless you are hostile to them. So I remember one thing, learn to mix up with odd type of people. The people who are not very close to you, the people who are strangers, the people who are just hello highs to you, who have just met you once or twice. If you come across them, don't hide your face, don't go here and there. Learn to go forward a step and learn to say hello to them. उनका हाल पूछिए, कुछ भी general talk कीजिए. Everybody has some common topic to speak to. Do not be all the time inside your room playing with your what you call iPads and your iPhones and with your computers. They are very good associates of ours in life, but they do not replace your communication skills ever. Remember that for a good communicators, socializing is a must. You must learn to socialize with all age group people. Don't say कि मैं एक बूढ़े आदमी से क्या बात करूँगा, मैं एक छोटे बच्चे से क्या बात करूँगा. आप हर तरह से अपनी communication को mold कर सकते हैं, and this molding is what we call command on your communication, and you have to develop that. Number 2, I'll bring you back to appearance. Make sure that we dress up not for others all the time. We dress up for our own pleasure also. Our clothes sometimes are lying there. I mean, say, I was the other day in a meeting with some women, housewives, and solving their personal problems. And one of them got up and said, ma'am, I have a problem. My husband used to be so attentive to me all the time. Now he's not. And he comes home, he's so busy in himself, and he's not even looking at me twice. I told her one thing. I ask you to go out to a mall or to a cinema house or even outside to market. You look at yourself 10 times in the mirror, change your clothes, you dress up well, you put on a little perfume also, lipstick, everything. And as soon as you come home, you remove all your goodies and you wear the worst possible gown or the dress you have or the worst possible sari, which is stinking with some sort of sabji or something or other. And who are you trying to attract, your husband or the people outside on the roadside? So it's a very strange sort of thing when we call appearance. Appearance is not for others. Appearance is for our own self also. Give you one little practice. Dress up well one day. Look at your mirror. The mirror will say you're looking nice. And that day you see, you walk well, you talk well, you meet 20 extra people. You don't even restrict yourself into the room. And the day you are not dressed well, the way you are not satisfied with your dressing and the mirror does not utter a word to you, that day you avoid. Somebody tells you to let's go to have a cup of coffee somewhere, or come on, let's go for this meeting. You say, nahi, aaj chodo, kal chalenge. You avoid. So see how your own appearance affects your own personal self. So communication is also through appearance. Communication is through how we behave with people, our mannerism. We feel absolutely well mannered with somebody big. Suppose you're sitting next to a minister or a VVIP. Your total mannerism changes. Who has changed that? Have I changed it? No. Did your lecture change it? No. You have everything right inside here. You have to use it, and you don't use it. You go and condemn you, मुझे तो कुछ आता नहीं, मुझे तो कुछ आता नहीं, और अभी मैं आपको एक मंत्री के साथ चाय पीने बिठा दूं, या अभी आपको एक बड़े वीवीआईपी के साथ चाय पीने बिठा दूं, यू विल सी योर मैनरिज्म. चाय का प्याला भी आप प्यार से उठाएंगे, खटपट भी नहीं करेंगे, मुंह से आवाज़ भी नहीं निकलेगी चाय पीने की, और आपके सारे मैनरिज्म धीरे धीरे भी पिएंगे, आप बिल्कुल देखेंगे भी प्रॉपरली. हाउ डू वी गेट इट? Who has taught you? Nobody has. This is a basic proof of the fact that I am telling you for day-to-day life communication, that we all have everything right here. We are born communicators. We learn from how we look at people, but we keep telling ourselves, मुझे तो नहीं आता, मैं तो नहीं कर सकता, अरे वो कितना अच्छा है, मैं तो कितना गंदा हूँ. Why do we, this self-condemnation that we have kills our communication skills. So friends, first we talked about your observation, listening power. Second, we talked about your appearance. Feel proud in your appearance. Remain neat and tidy all the time. Your house is your basic place. Don't think that is the place. You can relax looking neat and tidy also. Neat and tidy does not mean that you bikhero your baal and you become very this thing. That doesn't mean neat, relaxing. Relaxing can be any time. Then one more thing I want to tell you is the last thing about communication skill is that communication requires to be polished. We all are communicators, that fact is accepted. And you will have to accept it because you communicate to your friends, you communicate to your close ones, you shout, you dance, you do everything at home. If you can do everything, all types of communication in your personal capacity, in your close circle, you can always do that outside also. And for that, a few little training programs, a few little self-disciplines, following of certain things matter. And this is what I was telling you. Observe. Keep telling yourself, I will also communicate. I will also speak. I'm looking nice. My hand gestures are under control. I'm not hurting anyone. I must speak some pleases and thank yous, some soft words in my speeches. I should take care when I'm sitting with 5 people that I do not overbear. I try to listen to them. I try to understand them. I put in my point of view also. I should not be very rigid in my mind कि नहीं मैंने कह दिया तो ये तो पत्थर की लकीर हो गई. No, you should be able to listen to others. Accordingly, you should be able to interact with them, try to convince them. So, to sum it all, what I can tell you is good communication is learned. We are all communicators, and to brush up our communication, to know the skills of the communication, we need little self-discipline, we need lot of reading, we need lot of knowledge, we need lot of gathering of the subject on which we want to. We should listen, we should observe, we should be, sympathetic toward others, we should be able to understand things. If I can speak, the other also has a right to speak. The moment we have that, I think we can convert ourselves into a different person altogether. A good communicator, whether it is on the stage, whether it is outside, nervousness is once, not always. Once you are able to break your nervous stones, once you decide, what's wrong? Let me sit with this man. Even if he has to talk something, I will listen. Even if I have to just punctuate in between, I'll do that. If I don't have anything to contribute, at least I'm listening, I'm learning from whatever he's saying. I tell you, the best thing in modern times to learn is your television sets. Just sit on television, listen to the news, see how the news reader is presenting himself. See the group discussions, there are plenty every day on the TV. You may not gather anything out of them. You may say, oh, what a drab subject he's speaking. But there is something called whatever we hear, we register here in our mind. For this, I'll just lead you to one little small example. I tell you that you pass a shop every day and there is a music playing there, some stupid music from a film song playing there every day. And you are not listening to it, just passing that road every day. And gradually that song gets registered in your mind, and the moment somebody sings it wrong, you say, "Arey nahi bhai, aise nahi hota hai, iski ye lines hoti hain." Who taught you that? Nobody taught you. Did you read it? Did you read it aloud yet? No. Our minds are the biggest computers. They register everything. Only thing is we should allow them to register. And we should recall what they have registered. If you cannot recall otherwise, I said, sit quietly in your room at the end of the day. Take a pencil and a pen or copybook in your hand and just jot out. Aaj maine ye suna, aaj maine ye dekha. Today I saw this, so and so said this, I met so many people. Just jot out initially nothing, and you see that how you can recall out things. This increases your observation power. Gradually you learn to observe. Even when you're sitting alone in a coffee table, you will see how the other people are behaving. You will learn from their behavior. You will learn from the bus stand, standing, waiting for a bus, what are the expressions people are carrying. You can keep guessing. So there is no end to enhancing communication at all. Communication is something which is our own mindset, which is inside us. But to be a good communicators, you please give a chance to others to speak out, learn from what they have. There are many things I don't know, but I learn from when I listen to the news, the latest what is happening about all over the world. Who tells me? I have no time to read, so I just sit next to the television and I don't even sometimes look at it. I'm reading my book, but still the words are going somewhere in my mind and getting registered. Same thing will happen to you. So don't say, "Mujhe to aadat hi nahi hai, I can't listen, I can't observe." These are very lame excuses in the world of communication. Each one of you who are listening to me here can become an excellent communicator. Just observe, listen, follow, and then speak out. Discuss. You're sitting in a group for discussion, and if you've listened about Manmohan Singh whole afternoon on the television, you are sure to say that Manmohan Singh ji to America ja rahe hain is tarikh ko. Things, your brain, which is the biggest computer, automatically registers things. But you must learn to recognize your brain power. Have confidence in you and go on believing in yourself that I can communicate, I can be a very good communicator, and if others can talk, why can't I talk? Maybe initially you're not very good, but otherwise you will find ultimately you will be recognized as a normal communicator and thereafter a very good communicator. Please believe in me and follow these practices in your day-to-day life. I am sure they'll bring you a lot of success. Thank you very much.
So, what we gather that the first thing one should do that I can, not others can.
Yes.
This is what one should start with.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. It is very, very necessary that if others can do it, I can also do it.
Even at meeting or at some discussion point, what people see that, no, I will not break the ice. He has to break the ice. So, you have to take the initiative.
Why not? You should start on. If you have your knowledge, if you have studied the subject well, if you're well prepared, I'm sure you will be very excited to break the ice yourself. So the first thing is, be confident of that I know.
Okay.
And for knowing, you must gain knowledge. Again, pick up something from someone. Like I learned something here. I'm a very old lady, but I learned computer at this age. And I keep asking someone, ab isme kaun sa switch dabaye, up kaun sa, and at least today I can say that I know my computers.
Okay, that's good. So, but despite the fact some of the people they try hard, but still they don't come out from the cycles which they carry for or in the past. So, what is the suggestion for those people?
I would like to tell them that they have lost their communication because probably the lifestyle they have led in the initial stages, they were never given a chance to communicate with their family, with their people at home or someone. Now, I would like such people that they should try to communicate with the best of the friends.
Okay.
You know, with the near and near ones, somebody they can repose confidence, they should have discussions with them. They should interact with them and gradually go on enhancing their group of interaction. With 1-to-1, they should come to 2-to-1, 4-to-1, then they should speak in a little circle of their own, and gradually you'll find. And I would request their friends to involve them.
Okay.
It is
So
very
as you
necessary.
said that in group communication people do rehearsal, so that can be also applied in case of interpersonal relation, yes, such kind of things, because I have noticed that some of the people who try to learn the new languages, what they do, they come to the in front of mirror and start
And this-
practicing. So is this help some other method do you suggest?
No, this helps. I tell you, as I was telling you, that the mind registered things. For getting the best, what you call, conversation, as you call, what do you call, pronunciations of words. How do we help? You pick up a book.
Okay.
The easiest book, a story, maybe a story of Cinderella, Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. Big book. Take it in your hand and read aloud.
Okay.
Read so loud that it goes into your ears. Once upon a time, there was a girl called Cinderella. Slowly, the speech should be slow, and read it loud. Or gradually, after reading the story, when you have done, pick up one, paragraph one day, second paragraph, you yourself will find out. And now that we have extra devices, I would advise such people that when they're reading, they should put a, microphone before them, record their speech, and then go on listening to it. If you've seen when the people go to America, they're taught that American accent.
Right.
And they use these communication skill workshops. So they go on listening through the thing and put on the earphones on them. And nobody's teaching them, but they're learning the accent themselves.
Okay.
And gradually they learn it. So I personally feel that what you say, that talking aloud before the mirror, or mirror is something which really makes your, actions, appearance, everything very friendly to you. हमारे यहाँ एक कहावत है, more you go before the mirror, people say हर वक्त शीशा देखते रहते हैं. But I disagree with that. You should have a full mirror in your wall and talk to the mirror. Even when you're speaking aloud, speak to the mirror.
Okay, but in the beginning, one should not think about whether my pronunciation is right or wrong. They should go on
No,
speaking.
they should go. Communication is not pronunciation.
Yeah.
Communication is just conveying what you want to convey to the other person.
Okay.
Now, that is the reason we say language is no barrier to communication.
Okay, yeah, it's a good point, because
See-
some of the times people get confused that I am not using the right pronunciation, so the people will
Yeah.
understand me or not. This way they hesitate to talk to others.
You will be surprised,
Yeah.
when we go abroad or we go to other countries,
Yeah.
the way we tuta way speak, but we
Yes,
convey.
yeah.
We are communicating.
Conveying the meaning, message is
the
important.
communication.
Yeah.
Important is that how you convey. It's not that you are very conscious of your language, your pronunciation. We say language and any such things are no barriers to communication at all. You can convey with your hands, your gestures, you can convey with your expression, you can even speak with your accent very different accent.
Right.
Now, many of these foreigners who come to India and give a speech, we have to strain ourselves to understand them.
Right.
We really strain.
We have to put attention on that what she's saying
What
or
he's
not.
saying. Because their language, but they're not scared. They go on speaking. They are not this Indian accent seeking tab Hindustan aayenge.
Yeah.
So language is no barrier. Yes, gradually if you want to go into the right diction, you can control yourself.
Okay.
But don't hesitate communicating.
Okay, I find the most of the students or any new learners, they spend time on these things, accent neutralization and learning pronunciation. Is this difficult if we follow certain methodology, a certain principle, because you are in this field communication, so you know what is the easy way out of this, because it's a time consuming for the
It
people
is.
who are
Should I tell you something?
Yeah.
Many times when I teach interviews and to people, I tell them, do not get disheartened by language or by communication. If you can't find a proper word of English, come down in Hindi.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. You can come down in the language you're comfortable with, because you are trying to convey your knowledge to someone.
Okay.
You're not trying to convey. And people come, you know, you all know, and you must be knowing that simultaneous translation is one of the biggest thing that one can do. And most of our students and most of our youngsters are doing simultaneous translation because they are trying to communicate in English.
Okay.
Unko Hindi mein they are comfortable, but because they want to speak all the time in English and they're not comfortable, so they're in their minds, so their expressions goes bad, their
Look tensed.
everything go bad, and they look so artificial that half of their selection chances are gone.
Okay.
So use your own language, but don't ask a person, can I go into this language? The moment you ask that, the other person feels that you're not confident. Start little bit in the language. They expect you, and then go back into Hindi. I can assure you, nobody will tell you कि आप अंग्रेजी में वापस आइए. Nobody tells you that ever.
Okay. But
So language is not a barrier ever.
language is fine, but what about the mannerism that time? Because people sitting in front, they are talking to English, so
Doesn't matter. Should I tell you something? It is, you are getting selected for your capabilities. It's not a language class.
Okay. So interview, it's fine.
It's fine.
Okay, but in
It
other
is fine in the
group discussion.
in the group discussion also. Should I tell you something? Most of our friends, you don't go near the very modernized groups.
Okay.
Why? Because you're scared they're all going to speak in English, and if I stand there and put in something, it's okay. For once they may not pay attention, but if you're speaking intelligent, and if your thoughts are right, and if you're speaking facts, they cannot ignore you. They will
Thoughts are right, or thoughts which suits to them.
suits to them.
Otherwise, they will not mingle with you.
Of course.
Yeah.
So most of us are scared speaking because we are scared of one thing, that we may be rejected. Somebody may laugh. I can assure you one thing, you slip once on a peel of the banana, you'll never slip ever again in your life. Let people laugh. Your confidence, and for that, we will talk something when we talk personality. How do you build in that confidence?
Okay.
How do you know that you're confident enough to say? So, one thing I want to tell to everybody, I don't know, that's my very personal belief, and I've used it throughout my life to go to the position where I am. I've started at a very low place and I've come to whatever I am today only because of one thing. I have never been conscious of my language.
Okay.
I speak in Hindi. I use my Hindi very often. I'm very proud of using my Hindustani. Wherever I can't find words, you must have seen in between also, I go into my own language, because the communication, only one principle it has is that I should be able to convey whatever I want to convey to the people who are sitting before me.
Right.
It's immaterial how I convey, whether I use my hands, my eyes, my voice, my thought, whether I use chaste English or chaste Hindi or Sanskrit, anything. So language is no barrier at all.
Okay. So you are suggesting the a student that what the principle of what the things which you taught, that is not to be applied at the time of communication, but it is to be part of your behavior. It is part
Behavior,
of your attitude,
personality.
personality.
It's
Only
a part.
then you can communicate well or you can
Yes.
be a good performer.
That's
it.
exactly. And remember one thing, very, very this thing, that unless we, gradually when we stop communicating with the fear कि लोग हंसेंगे या something will happen, तो we start becoming introverts.
Yeah.
फिर हम बोलना बंद ही कर देते हैं. Gradually we keep on doing पर्सनल कम अपने मन में हाँ ये बोलता तो मैं ये जवाब देता, मैं ये करता तो मैं ये वी आर डूइंग सेल्फ टॉकिंग विच इज़ द वर्स्ट थिंग दैट वी कैन डू टू आवर ओन पर्सनालिटीज. हम अपना मुंह बिल्कुल बंद कर लेते, हम कंट्रीब्यूट करना ही बंद कर देते. सो आई पर्सनली फील कि बोलना तो शुरू करो, कम्युनिकेट तो करो, forget about the language to start with and gradually have command in other languages and start communicating in other languages also.
Right. And you will pick up on the group.
You pick up from the group. Yeah. I may use a wrong pronunciation once, but when in the group somebody corrects me, I will keep using it rightly the other time.
Yeah.
So I really believe that the trouble with us at the moment is that we are becoming more and more introverts.
Yeah, because when we talk in Hindi, never think that we are speaking wrong or right. We are just go on speaking.
And being introvert is a very dangerous thing for personality. Very dangerous thing. You start having complexes, and your personality gets hurt very badly. So what I personally feel is communication is something. Remember one thing, मुझे अपनी बात दूसरे तक पहुंचानी है. अब उसके लिए whatever method I use, whether I use oral method, you must have seen that these Japanese people, when they come to India, they're able to tell you what they want by using their hands, by using something. None of them I find in the market not buying. I find them eating in the restaurants. I find them even talking to the local people. Same thing happens when I went to France. Everybody goes abroad. You go to France, nobody will speak even English.
Okay.
You're absolutely tongues tight, but still you live there, you are able to convey, and that is what is communication. Conveying your needs to the others, getting the needs of others, whatever you think you want to convey something. So communication is a madhyam methodology.
Okay, it is not to be learnt, it is lived with.
No, it's
Live
not.
with.
It's a life skill, I call it. It's a life skill.
Yeah, one grow with it.
But you have to grow with it. Yeah. The only thing is that you can go on improving upon it. You can go on improving right from the childhood. If you haven't got it, you can improve it at any age.
Any age. Yeah.
That's it.
Only need a little attention and putting some effort to improve it.
Yeah.
So, when you suggest to a student, what 3 things one should start with?
Should I tell you something how to start with?
Yeah.
It's a small little exercise we do with children, with everybody, and I have made lots of, you start sitting in a group, play a game. This is a game which I would suggest आप लोग ग्रुप में ये खेलिए, अपने घरों में खेलिए, अपने बच्चों के साथ खेलिए, अपनी मेट्स को लगाइए या जो भी घर में हेल्प से उनके साथ. What is this game is that you pick up one word. चाहे हिंदी में, चाहे अंग्रेजी में. If you want to improve your English, pick up this word in English. Like I say fan, you say chair. The third person says a television. Fourth person says something else, a glass of water. Now we say one round is over. We have said one word. Now in the second word you come with 2 words. I say fan rotates. You say your word is chair. Chair. Sit. Then the third one says television, watch. Then we come to 3 words.
Yeah.
And rounds go on, we come to 3 words, 4 words, 5 words.
Okay.
By the time we have said 5 words, we have said a sentence. Unknowingly. And generally to make it more interesting, we put punishments in between. If you miss your word, and then from sentence we come to 1 sentence, to 2 sentences, to 3 sentences. 5 sentences you speak and you have spoken a paragraph. and then I tell you, come on, you know all about chair. Now it is time for you to come here on the stage and tell me 5 lines on chair.
Okay.
You will be able to speak about it. So we can call it word building games.
Fine, fine. So, well, friends, you try this method and you will learn not only communication skill, but properly you will communicate with your friends, and in even group you can your chances of getting selected for any job will be more, I think. So with this word we conclude today's lecture, and I must say that the today lecture was more informative, more practical approach was adopted by Professor Nirmal Bhatnagar. So I think this is helpful for all of us. So with this, I thank her for giving such an insightful lecture, and I thank all of you for watching the lecture. Thank you very much.